These are FootJoy Traditions, some of the best-selling golf shoes from FootJoy, which is one of the most storied golf brands of all time. However, that story is changing a little bit, even though they are owned and run by the most successful golf brand in history. And so today we're going to learn a lot more about FootJoy and Titleist to try to understand how this unbelievable shoe company went from being the very best shoemakers in the world for decades to being just another competitor. When I've done stories like this in the past, they've been about a company where the fall is much more obvious to me and probably to most people online. Whether it's because of a ton of negative public discourse like there was with Topgolf, or a very clear collapse and closure like there was with Nike golf equipment. But FootJoy is a little bit different because it's been so incredibly healthy for so long. This right here is the first ever advertisement that I was able to find for FootJoy golf shoes in 1927. And from that day on, the day that these shoes were released to the public on this piece of paper, they took over the golf world by all intents and purposes. And then as the years went on, slowly become more and more prominent for being incredibly high quality American-made golf shoes that maintained a very luxurious feeling. You could even say a cut above the rest. And it's in that quality, that supremacy, you could say, as being such a good golf shoe that I think encouraged Acushnet to purchase FootJoy in 1985. That's Acushnet's whole thing. All of their brands inside the golf world are the best. As today they hold Titleist, the creators of probably the most popular irons on tour in the professional game ever, Scotty Cameron putters, the company with the single greatest reputation, unbelievable quality, and inherent value, while also adding to that Vokey wedges, which are pretty much unequivocally the best wedges in the game. Titleist and Acushnet, those brands make the best stuff. That's how it's been in the golf world for decades, and in 1985, when FootJoy was added, they were the same story.
Philip Darnell Mickelson, Alligator FootJoy Classics, size 12D. Puts on the left shoe first. Those FootJoys are awesome. Regular? Yes, sir. Regular. Listen, Justin, maybe you should go with like the Bomber Taupe and Fudge Classic. Interactive comfort technology. The leather, softer than Phil's lob wedges.
All of those brands made the best products at the time. FootJoy was no exception, and most of those things have all stayed the same to today. But in all of those markets, the specific Acushnet products all have this specific value that is different or unique to that specific product that helps them sell, even in a world so wildly competitive as it is. But the shoe market is a little bit different. For one, as the game of golf grew over the past 25 years, with the rise of Tiger Woods, all of that mania, and with the rise of social media afterwards, so too has the game risen as well, making a game that for a very long time has been very classy and traditional, more modern in a way that has spread throughout the game entirely, including golf shoes. Many people are swapping out their traditional golf shoes with more modern, sneaker-like approaches to a very similar product. Most specifically, most obviously in this golf shoe game was with the rise of spikeless golf shoes. But before we get into the rise of spikeless golf shoes, we gotta get into something even more important. And I've heard for a very long time that you need to invest in things that separate you from the ground. That's where you will feel it the most. That means tires, spikeless golf shoes or spiked golf shoes, chairs, and mattresses. And that's where today's sponsor, Bear Mattress, comes in. Bear is a premium fiberglass-free mattress designed to upgrade your sleep, improve your overall quality of life, and it's conveniently shipped to your door for free. And they know everybody has different requirements and preferences, and to find the best mattress that fits for you, they've created a sleep quiz to do just that. I took the quiz, and personally, as a back sleeper who prefers a firmer ride, they matched me with their elite hybrid mattress to best meet my needs. I've had it for over a year now, and it has supremely changed my sleep quality in a way that I really didn't expect it to be able to do, and in a way that I hadn't seen in my entire life. There's also a 120-night sleep trial to test if the mattress is right for you and ensure you love it. They also offer a limited lifetime warranty and have payment plans and financing options so they can get you in the mattress that fits your needs as soon as possible. I love my Bear mattress, and I think you will too. So head on over to bearmattress.com/RoluGolf and use code RoluGolf, 40% off your own mattress. This is higher than what's being offered on their website, so make sure you capitalize on that ASAP and check out Bear Mattress. And thank you again to Bear Mattress for sponsoring today's video. As the game got more and more casual throughout the late 2010s, golf shoes shed their spikes for a much more sneaker-like construction, which makes sense as the dressy-like Oxford-style shoes had maintained popularity in the game of golf despite losing popularity in more casual wear, and golf was slowly warming up to those modern trends. Companies like Puma, Adidas, Ecco, and Skechers dropped really appealing, very comfortable, and pretty simple golf shoes that didn't have spikes and offered a much more sneaker-like construction that didn't necessarily jump into popularity immediately, but over time was more and more accepted until it was very widespread by the common golfer. And it set the tone for what golf would slowly turn into over the years, as the game of golf became more and more connected to what people wore in their own day-to-day lives. And the shoes are no exception for these young guys or even the older folk on courses. However, this doesn't necessarily mean that FootJoy had to struggle. As I said before, Acushnet golf brands are some of the financially healthiest in the business and almost always increase or at least maintain their profit levels year over year despite whatever happens in the broader golf market. They are that good at understanding what needs to be done, and when new material changes happen in the golf world, they are able to respond in a healthy way no matter what kind of change it is for the most part. But FootJoy is the exception to that. According to their own financial reports and then reported on by MyGolfSpy, FootJoy's sales have declined in each of the last 3 years, and that's despite having already shifted production to China. In fact, they even ended one of those manufacturing agreements in China in favor of one with Vietnam, and that probably helped them get around a lot of the tariff issues that went on this year and should be promising for the future, but it still wasn't good enough for their results this year, as FootJoy's sales figures were down yet again in Q2 of this year. And this was what was most surprising to me, because Titleist is always very boring because it's incredibly healthy. You don't expect losses like this, but it's also because FootJoy has tried to latch onto these new trends, even the spikeless stuff.
This is Pro SL from FootJoy. This isn't just a golf shoe. This is Pro SL, the hottest shoe on tour. From FootJoy, the #1 shoe in golf.
They made really good spikeless shoes, in fact, pretty quickly when those things began coming out. They were comfortable and, in my opinion, looked fine and did just fine. They looked more like sneakers in the same way the trends were leaning. They also make a lot of other things, including normal apparel, golf gloves, most specifically, that were also following the line of most Acushnet products. They were one of the best golf gloves of all time, but over the past decade, that FootJoy name and most of their products have just become another option to a lot of golfers. For a while, they made the highest quality golf shoe, and though they still do make some very good products, even some very good looking ones, they aren't objectively the best by any means. I've even seen a few reviews online complaining about a few individual models or issues with one shoe that a certain person got, but I have seen that FootJoy does a really good job of responding to them, getting them fixed issues if it was a defect with the specific product they got. So I don't think that's the problem either. It's not like the quality has gone down so significantly that it would ruin their image. I've seen a lot of people coming out and talking that a lot of the FootJoy products that they have released in the past few years aren't that good looking, aren't the traditional beautiful shoe that they have made for so long, and for that reason potentially have lost some customers. But I think that's not necessarily true with a lot of FootJoy products, including these traditions being very solidly good looking. I think the Premiers are one of the best looking golf shoe in the world still, in the same way that FootJoys have been the greatest looking shoes or one of the best looking shoes for 10, 30, 50, 100 years, honestly, almost. That's how good they have been for so long, but they just aren't that special anymore. The G4 Gallivanters make a very similar product at a similar price. Then there's Echo and True Linkswear that are really creating cool looking spikeless shoes that can compete against even the spiked shoes. All the while, Tiger Woods' new brand Sunday Red that I have criticized in the past fairly so, are coming out with what I consider to be the best looking traditional golf shoe nowadays, and from the reviews seem to be legitimately the most comfortable golf shoe out there. And for a walker, I think that sounds great. I think I just convinced myself to buy one. But all the while, they have this Tiger Woods pull behind them. So even if the shoe wasn't the best quality shoe in the world, wasn't the best looking traditional shoe, it would still have pull because of the Tiger Woods name, in the same way the FootJoys used to. But it's exactly that I think FootJoy has somehow lost over the past couple years. They're no longer this powerhouse. The guy's unequivocally doing it better than the rest in at least one way or another. You can say that about Vokey wedges. You can say that about Titleist irons, and you can say that about Scotty Camerons. They all have something special about them, even in today's world where everyone copies each other and innovative brands are popping up like crazy. Those Acushnet companies are incredibly special for making themselves unique in this world where it's so hard to do so, and making their products seemingly better in one way or another than all of the rest. FootJoys don't have that, and I don't even think they're the best traditional looking spiked golf shoe anymore. Probably giving that to Sunday Red. And that doesn't mean these are bad shoes. That doesn't mean they're doing something terribly wrong. But it's just incredibly surprising to me that a brand with such a long and storied history, one that's owned by a company that just doesn't miss, that doesn't go down in profit or revenue, is missing, is doing all of this, is falling from the top with FootJoy. And I don't think that means these shoes, the Premiers, are going anywhere. It just means that they're not at the top anymore. They still make really good shoes, but now, in a world where there's a lot of really good shoes out there, they're becoming more and more just like everybody else, instead of standing out in the way almost all Acushnet brand things do. And I was very surprised by that. But hey, if you enjoyed this video, you can support me on Patreon down below, where I talk a lot more about the PGA Tour, whatever is going on in the golf world, and give out ad-free videos. Or you can jump onto this one about the bizarre rise of the Titleist Pro V1, or this one about the fall of Nike Golf. Thank you for watching. Peace.